Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Gibson guitar. So many of you would have heard of this brand, and at one time it was built in Michigan, over in Kalamazoo. And some of the people that you may know that would have used it would have been Prince, Keith Richards, Johnny Cash, B.B. King, are a few of them. So it was started, the actual factory that you see here was built in 1917. And they, of course, created some of the most iconic guitars ever made. And I'm summarizing some of what's here in this article. And so originally it was started up with Orville Gibson in 1902. And he was making mandolins. And of course, everything slowed down when World War I came around because the guys all went off to the war. When they came back from the war, their preference in music changed. So they were more into the jazz as opposed to the soft sounds that came from the mandolin. And then, of course, we hit with World War II. And that was right after they started making guitars. World War II hit. And they did have, at one time, they had hired these women during World War II, and about 200 women to continue making the guitars. And they were also manufacturing munitions for the war. They were called the Kalamazoo Gals. And these women were making guitars and munitions. But of course, once everything was over with the war, the women were, again, out of jobs because the men came back. But one of the things that the women did make was this Gibson banner line of guitars. It's an acoustic guitar that had a gold banner on the headstock with the slogan, "Only a Gibson is good enough." So it's one of the neat things. And some of the people that would have used those guitars would have been Buddy Holly and Woody Guthrie. So of course, again, like I mentioned, the Kalamazoo Gals, once they were out of jobs, they really didn't talk about them. They kind of became a secret thing that they kept hidden until many, many years later because the men came back and took their jobs back. Now, the big change happened in 1950 when Les Paul was hired at this here. And of course, then they started making the Les Paul electric guitars. That was a major, major change. And ultimately, in 1985, the factory did close because they headed to Nashville. But they did continue making some guitars here for a long time. You can go on tours here now. I do have here some pictures that you can search for the Gibson Guitar Factory in Michigan, and you can see all sorts of pictures inside of the factory, some of the guitars they made. I do have a link that I will show, or have connected here, two links actually. And one is an interview that was conducted back in 1984 before they moved, and it was done by a news station. And the other is just talking about the factory and somebody who had gone and was talking about it. So for all of our music lovers out there, I hope you like hearing that we actually had a guitar factory and that was created in Michigan over in Kalamazoo. Have a good day, everyone.